Welcome back to the Bearded Console Gamer and to the weekly update, wherein I go through the last 7 days of news from around the gaming world and find you the juiciest information nuggets that you need to keep you in the know. And boy do we have a bumper episode for you this week. We're going to be talking about the CDPR hack, the fact that Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment has finally managed to patent the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor. We'll also be covering the continued ridiculous sales of GTA 5, and we'll also be addressing rumours that the DualSense might just be starting to drift. But on the brighter side, Sony might also be developing a back button for that next-gen controller. If you enjoy the episode, please remember to like and subscribe as it really helps out a lot. And with that, let's get into the news. And we'll start off with the news that Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment has successfully secured the patent for the Shadow of Mordor Nemesis AI system, which is fantastic news for Warner Bros. And, in my opinion, a terrible development for the gaming industry at large. Just in case you missed it, the Nemesis system was first developed by Warner Bros. Studio Monolith for its Shadow of Mordor title, and was later expanded upon for the sequel Shadow of War. It basically created a hierarchy within the NPCs of the game and Talion, the protagonist. NPC orcs would form alliances and rivalries with one another and would remember the actions of Talion. They'd also develop traits based on the events that took place. For example, if Talion had burned an orc in a past encounter, that unfortunate soul may go on to develop a fear of the hot stuff, which in turn will affect how you might go after them the next time around. The whole system was incredibly immersive and gave rise to hilarious pieces of dialogue and memorable confrontations, but above all, it made the games feel interconnected and intelligent, and that's what WB Interactive Entertainment just locked behind a patent war for the foreseeable future. And here it is in all its prohibitive glory. Being a patent, it's incredibly wordy and dry, but basically it covers the mechanics that make up the Nemesis system and the social conquest battles from Shadow of War in exhaustive detail. Furthermore, WB Interactive Entertainment have been granted the rights to maintain the patent through to 2035, assuming that they keep up with the relevant payments. And boy do I hate that. But just to be clear, Warner Bros. Isn't the first corporation to try and patent a popular video game mechanic. According to Games Radar, Bloober, developers of the medium, filed to patent its dual reality gameplay mechanic back in 2016. And before that, Mass Effect developers BioWare patented the series' iconic dialogue options wheel. And of course there are reasons that patents exist. Individuals, corporations, everyone deserves the right to their creations. But the video games industry is, in my opinion at least, an artistic medium. It's like literature or sculpture, and these mediums require freedom in order to thrive. Let's take Michelangelo's David as an example. Look at the way the artist captured the hair and the physique of the subject. Do you think Michelangelo just woke up one day and was suddenly imbued with the knowledge and the ability to shape his David from the marble? No. His achievements are built on the knowledge and techniques developed by the masters that came before him. Well, video games are also in a state of perpetual evolution. Developers constantly borrow inspiration, ideas and techniques from one another, and because of that, the medium continues to grow, improve and diverge. Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment had a great idea when they came up with the Nemesis system, but instead of allowing it to become the new standard, a standard which, by the way, would have been improved upon over time, Warner Bros. Decided to keep it to itself. Now, a developer hoping to have something similar in their game either has to sufficiently alter WB's formula to the extent that it no longer constitutes infringement, or, if they're able, to just purchase a license from WB, if they're willing to give it. And again, I don't have a problem with the concept of a patent, I just hate to see innovation stifled. And all I'm saying is that Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment had better make Shadow of Gondor, and they had better freaking nail it. Next up, it was announced during Take-Two Interactive's quarterly financial results that Grand Theft Auto V has now sold a staggering 140 million units worldwide. Numbers like that are pretty hard to actually wrap your head around, so I'll put it like this. Saruman besieged Helm's Deep with an army of 10,000 Uruk-hai, and 10,000 can fit into 140 million 14,000 times. Ergo, if you were to imagine each of the GTA 5 units sold was an Uruk-hai, Take-Two Interactive could have besieged Helm's Deep 14,000 times over. Okay, the wheels on that metaphor fell off right at the end, but you're starting to get the picture. And the ridiculous success of GTA doesn't seem to be slowing down. According to IGN's Rebecca Valentine, Take-Two Interactive sold more copies of GTA 5 in 2020 than in any other year, with the exception of 2013 when the game was first released. And moving forwards, these figures are likely to remain strong because we've got the next-gen versions of the game landing in the second half of this year. By the way, you may have noticed that the footage rolling in the background has nothing to do with either GTA or The Lord of the Rings. That's because the only time I've ever had a copyright claim on my channel was after showing highlights of the GTA announcement during the June 2020 PlayStation 5 reveal event. So as far as I'm concerned, Take-Two Interactive can go and fund themselves. This week also saw CD Projekt Red reveal via Twitter that they'd fallen victim to a brutal cyber attack, which saw digital thieves get away with company data and, more importantly, the source codes for Cyberpunk 2077, The Witcher 3, Gwent, and the upcoming Witcher 3 remaster. Once the scumbags had stolen the data, they proceeded to encrypt CDPR servers and leave the most embarrassing ransom note that I think I've seen in my entire life. I have too much dignity to read the entirety of the message, but let's just say that after a cheery hello, the hackers gloated, "You have been epically pwned." And owing to the fact that these idiotic children spelt what I assume was meant to be you've, Y-O-U-R, then proceeded to capitalize epically and even had the gall to cap their travesty of a sentence off with 2 exclamation marks, well, I will be paraphrasing the rest of their manuscript. According to the ransom note, the hackers gained access to the aforementioned source code along with documents relating to CDPR's legal department, investor relations, and HR. The group then proceeded to threaten that unless they could come to an agreement with CDPR within 48 hours, that all of this proprietary data, including the source codes, would be dumped online, and that, again, I am paraphrasing here, CDPR's reputation would go down the toilet. To this threat, the company responded that they were not going to negotiate or give in, and that they were restoring their servers from backups. Furthermore, as far as they knew, no personal data relating to players or users of their services was collected during the breach. Now, this was a big boy move, and frankly, I'm very proud of them for standing up to their bullies. Seemingly realizing that simply dumping the info on the internet wasn't going to net them anything for their hard work, the hackers decided to auction the information off on the dark web. And according to Nick Stat at The Verge, the hackers were able to successfully sell the information for about $7 million. At this point, we don't know what the buyers intend to do with the data package, but it's undoubtedly compromised CDPR in a big way. I mean, the source codes for the Witcher games and Cyberpunk 2077 are now just out there. Of course, it's unlikely whoever just paid for the code is going to dump it online, but we could expect to find leaked internal messages, policies, basically anything that's going to make CDPR look bad surface in the coming months or years. These guys just cannot catch a break. But moving on to someone else's bad news, earlier this week we got our first indication that the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller may be starting to develop drift issues. Speculations began when law firm Kinkle, Schwartz, Kreiner, and Donaldson Smith posted a form on their website encouraging faulty DualSense users to get in touch with a view to launching a class action lawsuit. This, by the way, is the same firm currently going after Nintendo for their Joy-Con drift issues. Now, I did a short video on this earlier in the week, which I'll link to at the end, so be sure to check that out if you want to know more, but in brief, we don't know just how far-reaching the drift issue could be for PS5 players, if it's even an issue at all. However, we do know that it probably is a problem on some level because the law firm must have been presented with enough evidence of the drift to prompt them to post their phishing form in the first place, so it's definitely one to keep an eye on. Sticking with DualSense news, it looks like Sony may be in the process of developing a back button attachment for the controller. That is, according to a patent published in the World Intellectual Property Organization's database on the 4th of February. According to the patent application, which was registered to Sony Interactive Entertainment, the attachment connects to the points around the headphone jack at the front of the DualSense and will feature fully programmable buttons. Obviously, this looks pretty much identical to the PS4 DualShock 4 back button add-on, and it looks like it functions in pretty much the exact same way as well. The audio jack looks like it passes through like before, and the interface looks like it could be identical. I'll be honest, it looks weird as hell, and I wish that PlayStation would just develop a full-blown official DualSense Pro controller, but hey, if you enjoyed the functionality offered by the PS4 back button, then you're in luck, because it's probably going to make the jump to next gen. Or maybe the patent is just aimed at stopping anyone else from creating a back button. Who knows? But I think probably the most likely scenario is that they're going to bring it to full production. And on that happy note, I'm signing off. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe as it helps a lot, and hit that notifications bell to stay up to date on all the biggest news from around the video gaming world.